Watch now as we study the dino penguin. It apparently likes to scavenge the bones off of its victims, or bones that it finds laying around, and forms them into rather crude accessories. Do these accessories hold things for secrets for battle rituals? Mating rituals? Or perhaps do they just like wearing them? I look stupid. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look at another Kingdom release toy. This is Paleotrex. Paleotrex apparently is a Predacon, and he is what is known as a fossilizer. A fossilizer is similar to the weaponizers that were released in the Siege and Earthrise releases, but instead of being a robot with metallic parts, he is basically a robot made from a skeleton. So he will basically form bony weapons instead. Rather strange idea, but we'll see how it looks as we go further along. Unfortunately, Paleotrex is a new character, so we have no real biographical information. And again, as stated earlier with Vertebrake, I think that's a poor thing on Hasbro's part. When in the Generation 1 era, before we'd have a chance to see them in the cartoon, or in the comic books at least, the toys did have a bio that at least gave us some idea as to what this guy did. And it would be nice if that would be something Hasbro would bring back. But until then, we'll just have to worry about it when they decide to. Now, normally about now I would show you the loose parts, but we'll kind of go over the loose parts of Paleotrex as we break him down a little later in the video. That'll just be the easiest time to do it, since the whole entirety of this guy is loose parts. So we'll just cover everything all at once as we break him apart. So for right now, we will take a look at his articulation. His head can be turned from left to right. And it is on something of a ball joint, so it will rock up and down. His arms can be raised out about so far, and they do rotate at the shoulder all the way around, and pop free, as it should. He does have a joint at his elbow. His elbow is double jointed in the sense that he can fold his arm entirely front or back, just like that. He does have a swivel at the bicep, so he does have G.I. Joe's battle grip. There's also a joint at the wrist that allows you to turn his hands at the wrist, and you can open his fingers up. So, quite a range of articulation up there. You can twist him at the hip, but again, that's partially for dismantling him. He can spread his legs apart into a full splits. You can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, and he can bend at the knee 90 degrees. His thigh also is able to twist, like such, but he can also be twisted at the knees. And, of course, his heels can be shifted, but that's more used for one of the alternate modes. So as you can see, Paleotrex here does have quite the range of motion on him. Now we're going to transform Paleotrex. And of course, to do that, to start with, we need to remove him of his weapon. Then the next thing we do is we remove his chest shield. Then we fold down the face shield that he has on his head, which of course now gives him a shrunken head look. Looks kind of freaky. Then with that down, we turn his head all the way around. Because we're going to turn around here and we raise the skull up until it attaches to his head. And then of course now we get the lower jaw removed free and bring it up as well. And now we're going to go here to the front. We stretch out his fingers. And then we rotate them here at the wrists so that they face us. And then we are going to pop them free from his arms. And then of course we just set them aside. So now we go down here to his feet. You're going to fold down his heels, like so. Then you'll go back and get the legs again. You get the arms, rather. And you're going to insert them in to form the legs. There we go, just exactly like that. We raise up this arm, and then we are going to remove it. Because then we are going to bring it over here and attach it to the right arm. And then I reach down on the floor to pick up the piece I dropped. We pick up the tail, or his weapon, and then we attach it into the arm as well. And then once we got all that in, we simply remove that whole arm. And then we fold the post straight on that. And we come back to this unit here, because we're going to raise up the dinosaur head and then remove it. And then, of course, with the dinosaur head removed, we get the old arm that we had, and we attach the dinosaur head to it. Set that aside. We come back to this unit here, and we are going to remove all of the lower legs from the rib cage area. Because we're going to take this post, and we kind of rotate things so that it is straight up. With the brown portion to face the front, and that to be on the inside. Because then we're going to bring up the little hands. You make sure that these posts here in the back are straight. Then we open it up. Because you'll see there's a couple of holes in here. Well, those holes line up with the posts here on the dinosaur. So, we just line them up and connect them in. There we go. Lining up is the tricky part, because they're also supposed to line up as well with a tab. Here's where you got it wrong. You got something wrong here. The post is supposed to go downwards on this. That's how it's supposed to fit. So it's no wonder we're not getting this to go on right. Rearrange it here. That's the way it's supposed to go. And now it should connect. Connect it up to the hole. Get the head up so it's a little further out of the way. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Now once that's all secured in, we'll take the dinosaur legs and they get mounted onto these posts on the side. Rotate the tail so it's in the right direction. And then, of course, swing those legs down. Adjust them to stand. And then, of course, you will take the old chest plate here. You'll notice next to the post there's a couple of square holes, and those should line up on the rib cage. Those should line up on the rib cage. Oh yeah. Okay, try the other way, see if it goes on that way. That's working a little easier. But at any rate, there you will have it. He becomes a skeletal Tyrannosaurus Rex. Of course, he looks pretty silly in this mode, but at least he still retains a lot of the articulation. She can rock the head up and down a bit. The jaws do open. The little tiny arms are on a ball joint, so they will rotate and go out side to side a little bit. And of course his legs have the articulation at the hip where they can spread out and be turned. You got joints at the knees. And the knees can turn. You got the joint at the ankle. The ankle can turn as well. And of course you've got toe articulation. So you get quite a range of motion out of this guy in his bony mode. Still, not too shabby. Now we'll break him down into the components so that we can show you the different pieces. First thing they have you do is remove the chest shield. So here's the chest shield. And of course they have us straighten out his legs. And we remove the lower legs. So here you can have a good look at the lower legs. They are pretty much the exact same. Not entirely, though, due to the way the feet are, so you would want one left and one right. Then you have two of these, which would basically be the larger thigh bones. And again, they are not exactly the same, so you will want a left and a right. Alright, and then next we gotta remove the ribs. And here's the rib section. And of course we've got the main weapon, which is the tailbone. And we have here the left arm. And then of course there's the right arm. As we shift things over here, the last of the pieces, we have the robot's head, or the shrunken head, however you want to put it. And of course we have the dinosaur head. And of course they use him as a fossilizer. The instructions, for whatever weird reason, use Warpath. Well, it's not for whatever weird reason. Warpath is the only one of the 3 deluxe figures in the Kingdom line that can wear this unit. So it is a bit weird. Alright, to build the first set of weapons, we start by taking the ribs here. And we'll fold the little dinosaur arms up and inside. Come down here, we rotate the post. So it's right here against the backbone side. Then you will attach the thighs of the dinosaur in here. And then you'll attach in the legs with the heels facing you. So once we got them in like that, well, apparently we got the thighs in backwards too. So once they're in like that, and we get these turned around, just exactly like that. Close up the hands. Make it look like you got a couple of extendable arms here. And then that will attach to Warpath's back. Like so. You would take the shrunken head. You'll insert that into his right hand. The Tyrannosaurus dinosaur head would mount here next to his right arm. The chest shield connects here onto his left arm. And then lastly, with the remaining three pieces, you will take the dinosaur tail. You'll attach in the left arm. And follow it at the top with the right arm facing outwards like that. And then you stick that in Warpath's other hand. And then there you give him a rather bizarre set of weaponry. As we have a giant bony axe in his left hand, followed up by a little shield. In his right hand here, he's got a shrunken head club, followed by a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull right here that you can use to grip onto something. And it does have an impressive grip there, folks. It's got my finger. I mean, I read somewhere about the amount of pressure that a real Tyrannosaurus could inflict onto its victims with its bite pressure, and so this thing has some decent bite pressure. And believe it or not, what it's doing right now hurts like the dickens. And then, of course, lastly, up here, you got two different grabber arms that you can bend and place in multiple positions. So you get quite a lot of weaponry out of him for this one. But he does have one other option too. Okay, to switch Warpath into the other weapon mode really isn't all that difficult to do from this one here. We start by removing the axe, and we remove the dino skull. The shrunken head club we take out, but we're going to turn it upside down and reinsert it back in. For his backpack unit here, all we're going to do is we take out the dinosaur legs, and we just shift these downward a bit. Kind of like that. The dinosaur legs now we're going to stretch out like that, bend them forwards, and rotate them at the ankle a bit so that they point upwards like that. Once you've done that for both of them, you will insert them into the bottom of Warpath's feet. So that elevates him up a bit. A little lopsided here. Try to see if we can keep him balanced. Stay. There we go, that did it. And then now, we take the dinosaur skull, You'll fold it back down like so. And the axe pretty much stays the same, but you'll insert it like that. And then the hole here at the bottom will connect here to this post from the shrunken head. And then that gives Warpath a giant sword. Which, while it may look somewhat on the imposing side, it's also rather top-heavy. The moment I let go of him here, he is going to fall. Let's see if we can keep him. Nope, down he goes. Down, down, down he goes. It's a little too much for him in this mode, folks. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Paleotrex? Well, I will say this. This is going to be a mixed bag for people. I know that when the weaponizers appeared, they really weren't thought of very popularly by the fandom. I myself praise them for the fact that they brought some classic and relatively obscure figures from the Generation 1 era back into the modern era, plus gave them a new purpose and use since they were not now tied to one of the Titan figures as they had been in the Generation 1 era. But the way these guys are broken up, this is going to be a tougher sell. The fact that he becomes a dinosaur skeleton, it's going to look stupid on the battlefield, I will give it that. But then again, his robot mode really isn't that much to look at either. But both it and the fossil skeleton do have a lot of articulation, so he is begging to be put up on your shelf and be put in a battle pose. So he does have that going for him. It's the weapon modes where Paleotrex really falls apart at. Because neither of them really look all that good, especially placed on a Generation 1 Transformer. Unfortunately, I don't have many of the other Beast War figures to see how well he would fit on many of them. We might have to do that as a video in the future when more of them are available to see how well many of the others might look with him on there. Because the two deluxe class that came out with him, Black Arachnia and Cheetor, they don't have posts and they don't have the open holes on their backs. So they can't use him. So that pretty much left Warpath, and unfortunately on Warpath he just looks dumb. But maybe it's something that somebody else is seeing that I'm just not seeing, folks. Oh well, we're all entitled to our own opinions. And that concludes my review of the Kingdom Paleotrex. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and join our ranks. Make sure you ring the bell so you'll be notified when we post new content, since this month we're going a little crazy with content. I ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And share your thoughts about Paleotrex in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.